I'm still seeing no notification. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to 14th episode of Psychology Talk. And today we're going to discuss how to create a lasting impact. Uh, Today I actually came on live a little bit of unusual time, an unusual day, because we have a super special guest today, and he is among the top 10 influencers to follow in 2021, and his name is Ahmad Imam. He's one of the greatest influencer who made it to the top list in no time. Within just 2 years, his followers reached 2 million. He's creating an impact by supporting budding talent and helping them rise. He's an ambassador of Bully Zero. He's on a mission to reduce bullying through education, advocacy, and support for all communities across Australia and across the globe. So let's welcome Ahmad Imam to our show. Hello, Ahmad.
Hello, Ambreen. It's a
How are
pleasure to
you?
be here. Thank you very much. I'm
Yeah.
doing very well.
Yeah, thank you so much for actually joining us today. It's an honor to have you on my show. It's really, I mean, I've been following you since like more than 2 years or so, more than a year, and your content is so amazing. So you're always inspiring. So it's really an honor to have you here.
Thank you so. I appreciate your kind words. It's an honor to be here, and thank you very much for inviting me. I think there's a lot that we can talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I mean, this topic is basically, I feel that you're the best one to actually give guidance to our audience today that how to create a lasting impact because you have created an impact in such a short time. So, actually, before we move on to our, show discussion, just tell us a little bit about that yourself. So, like, audience will get to know you better, that like maybe like your life struggles, that how you reached to that level, and how was your journey like.
Yeah, well, look, there's a lot to discuss there. So, I mean,
I
my
know.
name is Ahmad Imam. I'm a presenter. I'm a host. I'm an edutainer. I have had an incredible journey on this platform right here on LinkedIn, and a lot of what I owe in terms of the opportunities that I have and the doors that have been opened are as a result of creating content on LinkedIn and doing my best to make an impact on LinkedIn. And a lot has come from that. So I now have a following of 1 million plus engaged followers. I now receive 4 million views per month. I was announced as top 10 influencers to follow in 2021. I was awarded International Man of Empowerment 2021.
Wow.
I recently received an incredible award from the Royal Office in the UAE, who
Mhm.
gave me the Leadership Excellence Award. And I'm also a ambassador and a presenter for Success Resources, and I host a lot of incredible events with some of the world's greatest speakers, thought leaders, educators. I mean, people like Tony
Yeah.
Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Richard Branson, just to name a few. I also host a few TV shows on LinkedIn. One of them being Level Up TV, which was LinkedIn's very first TV show, and a number of other shows. And I'm not saying this to try to impress you. I'm saying this to impress on you the power of making an impact on social media. If all of these opportunities came to me as a result of me being active on LinkedIn, creating powerful and compelling content on LinkedIn, everybody can do the same thing if they follow a similar approach.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to ask, like, it's like you made an impact. It's not only, it's people are following you, not just because you just posted every day or something. So like, what a strategy did you follow to actually increase the followership or the viewership and the reach to your audience?
Yeah, look, there are basic strategies that you can follow on social media to grow your following. I mean, the absolute basics are posting content and engaging on other people's content. right?
Yeah.
So the giving of free value, and also then supporting other people, because the more love you give, the more love you're going to get, is always the foundation strategy. In addition to that, what you're trying to do is essentially find people that believe the same things that you believe, or put yourself in a position where you are making yourself visible and talking about the things that are important to you, talking about your expertise, sharing your knowledge, so that people can then find you. And if they really do resonate with what you say, and it is what they also believe, you will start building a large community. So my focus has really been on impact. And when I say impact, I think that word is used far too loosely, right? Impact essentially means um, doing something, doing your part in supporting initiatives which offer solutions to problems,
Yeah.
right? And those problems can be as big as famine and pollution and poverty, or
Yeah.
they can be as minimal. And I don't want to minimize this, but it can be as minimal as making other people positive, giving other people reassurance, giving other people confidence.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, everything that we do, everything. And if you think about yourself in your workplace, everything you do in your workplace, and I'm talking about everything from showing up on time or not showing up on time, making an effort to be friendly to your colleagues, having a great work ethic. All of these things make a difference, and they do actually make an impact at your workplace or on social media or with your friends. The question is, does it make a positive impact or a negative impact?
Yeah.
Right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, my focus has always been on trying to offer a huge amount of value. And that also stems from my mission. And my mission is to help people destroy their doubt and build the confidence and courage that they need to live their best lives. And so, if that is my mission, everything that I do is not only values driven, but I'm trying to make an impact with that mission. And so a lot of people, thankfully, have resonated with my message, or that message has helped them. And as a result, I've been able to build this incredible community on LinkedIn, which has allowed me to then take advantage of many other opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you define so beautifully. There are lots of comments coming from the our audience, like Shankar is saying hi. Kamvimba is also saying hi, and Putin is saying that is looking for a job. Of course, this is a platform you can look for a job, and Zulfikar Ali is also saying that you're doing good. Kareem Tawin is also saying great internet marketeers. Ahmad Imam say hi. Hi, he's a good friend and he's very active. And good to see you after a long time, Ahmad. And Umar Kar is also saying the great conversation. And thank you everyone for joining us today for this conversation. And it's great to have you here. So moving back to our discussion, like as you said, that impact is like when you create a positive impact, and there's actually two three things that I look at, like when we create influence or impact. So this is like these are very similar words, but they has a very different connotation. So would you shed some
Yeah.
light on that, like would we focus more on creating an influence or impact, and if we create an impact or influence, like whatever we choose, what is the main differentiation between these two terminologies, on which should we be following? Yeah.
Yeah. And look, the quick answer is both. Okay.
Okay.
But I like to say that everyone that is making an impact has influence,
Yeah.
but not everyone that has influence is making an impact.
Yeah.
Okay, because often, in order to make an impact, or in order to make more of an impact, you need more visibility, and you need to be able to influence people, right? Influence is being able to lift people up to your way of thinking, to lift people up to your perspective. So if you're able to lift people up to your perspective, and your perspective is a positive one, with the intention to create impact, you will create impact. And the more influence you have, the more you can create impact at a much higher level. But I think influence is mistaken for well, the topic of influence, and the
Yeah.
definition of influence has changed as a result of LinkedIn, right? So
Yeah.
people on LinkedIn, I've noticed, just think influence is having a lot of likes and comments and
Yeah.
having engagement, and having a large following. That's not influence, right?
True.
I know people that have a following of 1,000 people or 500 people that are making more of an impact and are more influential than people that have, let's say, large amounts of engagement.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, if we're talking about influencers 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago were people that were changing the world. I mean, people that were inventors, people that were incredible thought leaders and educators. And I'm talking about people like um, you know, JFK, people like Oprah
Yeah.
Winfrey, people like Tony Robbins, people like Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Right now, we have people like Elon Musk. I mean, they're real influencers. So we can't mistaken what we call vanity metrics on social media for having influence, because when you have the real ability to be able to lift people up to your perspective and your way of thinking, that's a very different skill set to just being able to post something that gets a whole bunch of likes and comments. And so that's why I like to say that everyone that is making an impact has influence, but
Yeah.
everyone that has influence is not necessarily making an impact.
Yeah, greatly. I mean, absolutely right. And these names like you've taken, like Elon Musk, Nikola Tesla, they have actually disrupted the entire market through their vision,
Yeah.
and they created a whole lot of a different sort of an influence, and which actually changed the entire the dynamics of the market. So this is the
Yep.
real influence that they actually, which we can create through the impact if we touch lives one by one and through our vision. I think this is very important. One thing that I have also noticed, especially on LinkedIn, like a lot of people are actually more after followers and likes, and gaining more engagement, and in that sort of a race they forget their own sort of a vision, and they're trying to,
Yeah.
like I've seen many people who are changing content strategy again and again just to actually gain more likes and to gain more influence in something. So which I feel that it's very important to have a clear vision in the mind that what they actually want in from this social media. So that is, once they have the clear vision, only then they can create an impact or influence whatever they want, because all these great leaders, Elon Musk, Nikola Tesla, even Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, they did not actually just want to create an influence. It's not something, our mission only not to have influence over other or create an impact. It's basically you need to have a clear vision that what actually you want to do in life, and then you need to lead with the vision that creates an impact. So yes, I completely.
Perfectly said, and I couldn't agree more. And those people that I mentioned, and some of the people that you mentioned, they only built influence because of the impact that they first made. Like,
Exactly.
do you think Steve Jobs was on social media thinking, "Oh, I only got 5 likes on that post," you
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
no, I only got 55 views. Shame.
Yeah.
No, like
Yeah.
Steve Jobs was working his butt off to try and make an impact by solving a problem. So
Absolutely.
at our lower level, just at the basics, we have to ask ourselves, what problem are we solving? And it doesn't have to be like a Nikola Tesla or an Einstein or anything at that level.
Absolutely.
If your problem that you're solving is helping just one person overcome some sort of problem,
Absolutely.
or helping or helping a small group of people become more positive, or understand how to get through their depression, or
Absolutely.
understand how they can scale their business when their business was struggling. That's
Yeah.
making an impact. So you have to really try and think about what problem you are solving, and if your content right now or if your presence on social media is
Yeah.
not actually solving some sort of problem, you have to try and
Yeah.
ask yourself, what am I doing? Because
Absolutely.
if it's just for the likes and comments, believe me, that's only temporary, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm very well aware of that. Like, even with the following that I built, I'm very well aware that this is temporary. And I'm taking advantage of this by making sure that I'm making an impact, not only online, but also offline as much as possible.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I completely resonate with what you said, and I'm seeing it especially on LinkedIn more and more. And there is some content that people are putting out that is very obvious that they're just trying to chase likes and comments.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
start by thinking about what you are solving and work from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just hear the quote basically, which is very much a favorite. Henry Ford said that like, if he wanted to actually go to consumer and ask what they want, they would come up and say that they need faster horses. So, like again, like if we
Yes,
think about creating impact, we need to be ahead and understanding what consumer or what our audiences actually need, rather than just like reiterating their problem or solution what is already available here. Like maybe they can google it, or maybe like in steals other some other content, because like this is very much happening. So in case, like for example, if I feel that if somebody wants to give a solution to the audience, they need to be genuine and authentic and think from audience perspective, rather than just like google some tips like on certain solution problem, and then throw it to them like whatever is available. Yes, it may gain some likes or some maybe a fame for temporary period, but when you actually know what's going on in like your audience mind, and how you can actually provide them the solution which actually they can relate to them, so that's more important. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
And start off with the problem, right?
absolutely,
And find out what questions your ideal client profile is asking,
absolutely,
and your
absolutely,
content can be simply you then answering those questions and solving those problems. So
absolutely.
there's many ways to approach it. And I was just looking at the comments, and Jay Wilcox has an amazing question. How can you effectively measure impact via social media?
Yeah, this
Um,
is
and once you start thinking on that level, is when you can start creating content, or at least a strategy that makes sure that you achieve that, right? Impact is not necessarily likes and comments, but it is quality engagement, right? Like
absolutely,
if the quality of the engagement that you're receiving from your ideal client profile is relative to the problem that you're trying to solve, then that is making an impact. If you are receiving messages on LinkedIn or other social media platforms, where people that are, again, within your ideal client profile asking you questions about their specific problem, or reaching out to you as an expert for some help, then you are making an impact. If you're receiving messages from people saying, "Thank you so much for your piece of content. It helped me do this, 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 this. I've now changed the way I think, blah, blah, blah," you're making an impact. If you're
yeah,
receiving messages from people that want to now use your services and pay for your services because they've seen your expertise and your knowledge and they know that you can help them, then you're making an impact. See, all of those things are far more important than just getting 200 likes on a piece of content about a cat.
absolutely.
you know
I
so so
completely
that's what I'm
yeah.
referring to.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, basically, when we actually gain what we want to achieve. I mean, for example, again, it comes back to the vision, what we actually want, or our objective, that why we are here on the social media, or either on LinkedIn or any other platform. For example, if we are here to gain some more clients, and if we are gaining clients, so that means this is actually solving our objective, and it is addressing to our our mission and vision. So completely agree with you. Now we see that the world is actually growing more competitive. Even if you already have a job, making sure that you have access to the best opportunities, meaning giving beyond usual. But it's again like it's very hard again to stand out from the crowd, and again like maybe we are offering certain solution, but somehow it's still like, since it's too much crowd and it's too much there are a lot of this highly competitive market. So what would you suggest that how we can stand out from the crowd, and so to create a lasting impression?
If I was to say one thing, I would say speak up. And when I say speak up, I'm saying share what you believe.
Yeah,
There is a lot of white noise on social media.
Yeah.
and people just putting out, like we discussed, content that we know is just there to try and boost some numbers. Very few people are actually sharing what they truly believe. And when you share what you believe, it's a very important form of honesty, right? You're being completely authentic with your audience. And others might not always agree with you, but speaking up shows that you're confident about what it is that you're talking about and that you can fuel discussion. And when you have that group thinking and you're generating and initiating new ideas, I mean, that's going to differentiate you more than anything else. So I would say get some clarity on what it is that you stand for, on your values, on what you represent, on what's very, very important to you in terms of generating discussion, and speak about that and speak about it with conviction. And like I said before, when you find people that believe what you believe, then that's when you
Yeah.
build a strong community, and that's when you really start to differentiate yourself from the crowd, and especially all the white noise. Because what we have more than anything is our beliefs, and beliefs form our absolute foundation. And so when you find another person that believes what you believe, you become a loyal follower. And if you really know, like, and trust them, you'll become a raving fan. Okay. So it's very important to share what you believe. And if people gravitate towards you as a result, then great. If they don't gravitate towards you because you've shared what you believe, then they're not part of your tribe. They're not part of your community. So
Yeah.
that would be my number one tip: speak up and share what you believe.
Yeah, excellent, amazing actually advice, because this is essential to actually, because if we don't share our belief, that means that we are not true to ourselves. I mean, if we are sharing some others belief or something, so that means we are copying, or like, so when
Yep.
we are trying to share what we believe, we are genuine and authentic, and that's what actually how we can stand out. Because the thing is that everyone is unique, everyone has different ideas. That makes the person uh, make a differentiation, and make them stand out from the rest. So I completely agree with you. One more thing,
Every
like,
single one of us, and
yeah,
sorry to cut you off
no, no, it's
there,
okay.
Embry.
Yeah, sure.
Every single one of us has had different life experiences. We've all had different
Absolutely.
struggles, triumphs, tribulations, and we all have our own stories. And stories, more than anything, are powerful. Our own unique stories are more
Yeah,
powerful than anything else, because nobody that you meet is going to have the
absolutely.
same story as you. So use
Absolutely.
your story as a way to share what you believe and share your experiences. And I guarantee you will find people that have a similar approach, have a similar concept, have a similar strategy, have a similar belief, have similar values. And that's where you start building that community. And the most beautiful thing happens when you build a community from being authentic, you know? And so I highly suggest you do that, because there is nothing more rewarding than finding a community that believe what you believe, and you are also being consistently authentic throughout the process.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Okay, one thing that, like, since you chosen LinkedIn as your primary platform to create content. So, why? What is the reason? Like, why you chose this particular platform and not many others? So, is there any, like, is there any benefit of that offers more over others, or maybe like what is your views on that?
I originally jumped on LinkedIn because I heard that it had amazing organic reach.
Okay.
Right. When I jumped on about a little under 3 years ago, I was told that it is a booming platform, that it's similar to the way Facebook was back in,
Yeah.
2012, 2013. And I experimented with it, and I found that the organic reach was amazing. I mean,
Okay.
I remember putting out videos, let's say 2.5 years ago, when I had a very small following, and the videos were getting 100,000 views.
Wow.
That's amazing. And keep in mind, that's free, all right?
Yeah.
Like, ordinarily on other platforms,
Yeah.
you'd have to spend a huge amount either in the video production or in the promotion of a video to try and reach that audience. So for me, it was about the organic reach. But the reason I stayed was the community that I found on LinkedIn. The community is just so encouraging. They're professional, and you know, they're all lifting each other up for the most part, and I have built genuine friendships from this platform, and I can't say that about any other platform. I mean, I have friendship circles that are built from this platform from people that just started off as connections. We
Yeah.
might have started off as, having messages via LinkedIn direct message that are now people that I've met up with and I classify as real, genuine friends. So I would say the culture that a number of influencers and people on the platform have created for this platform is just so encouraging, and the community feel is amazing. And in my opinion, it trumps any other platform for what I want to do at least.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing, and that's what I actually found here as well. Because I also chose LinkedIn, especially specifically because I find that the people here are more professional, more encouraging, and more uplifting. They support you better, and I think the people here are
Yeah.
more genuine. So yes, definitely, I can resonate with this very well. Um, you're also a part of like Bully Zero, which is a very uh, critical. I mean, I'd say like I've seen like a lot of bullying around, especially in social media also. So how do you tackle all these, and what advice will you give to this, like how we should be taking it? Because we see like a lot of people, there are a lot of trolls trying to put you down. And sometimes even when we get the courage to actually start creating content authentically and genuinely, but then there are people who actually puts you down, and we start to step back and start thinking that should we go back or should we continue? So how to tackle this?
Yeah, look, I'm very passionate about
Yeah.
bullying, or I should say
Yeah.
anti-bullying.
Yeah.
Bully Zero is a non-for-profit that I became an ambassador for earlier this year, and it is Australia's leading bullying prevention charity. So what they do is they actually give tools to people that are being bullied, to people that are bullying, and helping them with some resources that help them overcome those current situations. But I would say that it's important to answer your question. I would say it's important to recognize the difference between people being rude, between people being mean, and between people that are actually bullying. Okay, because there is a difference. If someone unintentionally says something to you that offends you just once,
Yes.
then they're likely just being rude. All right.
Yeah.
If they say something intentionally to offend you and they just do it once, then that person is being mean. However, if someone intentionally says something or does something to offend you and they do it repeatedly, as in
Yeah.
consistently, then that is bullying, right? So, bullying is actually the behavior of doing it repetitively and intentionally in order to cause harm or to offend someone. So, we first have to differentiate the difference, because you're going to come across a lot of rude
Yes.
and mean people on social media. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're bullying.
Yeah.
But I'm a big advocate for um, anti-bullying, and the reason is I went through a fair share myself when I was much younger, and it destroys your confidence, it destroys your self-esteem, and it really does have, like we're saying, an impact, a negative impact. And so I am here now to support a lot of people that are going through it. Anyone that is currently living, working, existing with doubt as a result of being bullied, I try to uplift them and give them some confidence and some courage to allow them to work through their lives and live their best lives. And so, what I do with Bully Zero is me volunteering my time because I'm so passionate about it. But yeah, I am seeing a lot of, let's say, trolling behavior
Yeah.
on social media, and my response is this: make sure that you make sure you understand a difference between, let's say, trolling and people that are disagreeing, right? Because
Yeah.
you're always going to have people disagreeing with you and
Absolutely.
your ideas. And if it's someone that just disagrees with you, that's actually positive because you're there to encourage conversation. So you would
Absolutely.
simply say, "Thank you very much. I respect your opinion. Appreciate it." If it's someone that is being offensive and intentionally offensive, let's say responding to your posts, and they're consistently offensive and offending you or offending your audience,
Yeah.
then there's a block button for a reason. So feel free to block that person. Don't allow any of that negativity to come in. And like I said, just make sure you understand the difference between someone that has a different opinion to you and someone that is, let's say, being offensive or trolling, or potentially bullying you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because yes, I've seen a lot of people that you sometimes they do try to actually put the other person down or something like. But again, rather than it works both ways. I mean, we should also evaluate ourselves. We need to see that like if the person is only disagreeing or actually is offending. So there is a fine line between these two things, and that creates the other thing is like one thing that I've noticed, like the situation aggravates the way we actually respond to it. Sometimes we need to ignore these comments. Sometimes we just need to say thank you and then block it or something of that sort. So like it's definitely we need to see the strategy that how we actually deal with all these bullies around, or all the trolls, or even all those the ones that who are disagreeing with us. Because as you mentioned that
Yep.
like if someone is disagreeing with our opinion, it also broaden our horizon, mental horizon, because it's very important. Because if we only have the community of people who are just saying yes and yesayers, so that's that's also going to create the tunnel vision. So it's very
Yes.
important to be open to actually the comments that are disagreeing with the view. But again, we need to be aware aware of the difference between the bully, the one that are offending, and the one that are just disagreeing. For us, maybe we also learn and we improve on when we see some comments that is disagreeing with their opinion or advice. So yes, I completely agree with you the way you said. And you're doing an amazing work in that. And literally your especially the way you are promoting on your through your content also, that how we can actually um, uh, deal with all these bullies, and how we can actually have our
Yeah.
own self-esteem. Because especially your post about like how we can gain the confidence and self-esteem, it's amazing, because it does inspire people to speak up and to feel good about themselves. So you
Yeah.
are actually
and
an
and
amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
and to allow people to know that many other people go through the same thing, because a
Absolutely.
lot of these times when you experience something like that, and it doesn't just have to be bullying,
Yeah.
it can be anything,
Yeah.
anxiety, stress, depression.
Absolutely.
Everyone always feels alone, and that they're
Absolutely.
going through this by themselves. There are so many other people going through the same thing, and so I think that's important for people to know that it's absolutely normal. But here are some resources that can potentially help.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We could actually go on talking and talking, and because this is a very important topic, it's like close to my heart, and I know you're passionate about it. But unfortunately, the time is like we just reaching to the end of our show. So,
Yep.
um, like before actually concluding our episode, I would just say that what one advice would you give to our audience today to to have to create a long lasting impression or an impact. So,
I would say this: have the courage to speak your truth, right? And a lot of the time, we don't speak our truth because we don't want to stand out, and we want to make sure that we're not being judged, and we're going to make the right impression. But everyone has their truth, and just have the courage to speak it. And that might be, like we said, sharing what you believe in. It might be sharing your experiences. It might be sharing some of the painful moments in your life so that other people can actually learn from them as well. But have the courage to speak your truth is my advice.
yeah, absolutely. Because I feel that when we share, even like for example, the in past like a couple of like weeks or like I did share some of like when you share the dark moments, that how you struggle with those. I feel these are the moments when people can relate to it, because not everybody wants to actually talk about this. Because I've seen like many people just like brag about their success or boast their achievement. It's something like it's good to be inspired by all these things, but the struggles come from those moments when we go through the hardships and struggles in life. And that, I think, that gives the real inspiration to the other people, because people can relate to it. Okay, like this is the time that I also went through this failure, and that was the same feeling that I've gone through it. And that's how, like, it's also good for us to speak up on those hardship and struggles that we have gone through, because that also releases our sort of like the tensions that we have created during those moments. And it also gives the courage to others, and they feel, okay, if someone can actually go through the same struggles, they can also do the same. So it
Yeah.
works both ways, so it's a win-win situation. So it's always good to be genuine and share whatever you have struggled through the life, because that can actually give a reason for someone to go an extra mile. So I think that's very important. Yes.
Well said. And you'll find that when you share those moments, that's actually when you're going to make the most impact. You know,
Absolutely.
speaking of impact, what you're doing is you sharing it is giving people permission for them to also share it. You know,
Absolutely.
usually it has to start off with one person being brave or one person being courageous, and sharing something that a lot of us potentially go through, but no one talks about. And
Absolutely.
because no one talks about it, sometimes people think that it doesn't exist. Things, all these things exist. All these
Yeah.
problems many people go through. And so what you're doing is you're giving people permission to then not only know it's normal, but permission to also then share their experience. And that's a therapeutic process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, thank you so much for such an enlightening session, enlightening discussion, such wonderful insights you've shared. I'm really grateful to you, and it's really, I mean, I can't express my gratitude to you. It's an honor to have you on this show, and thank you
Thank you so
so much
much.
for giving us time. So have a great day, everyone, and thank you for everyone joining us for today's session, and being like actively listening and sharing your comments. Thank you so much. So have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.